What up, man?
What's going on, y'all? Pleasure to be here. I appreciate y'all having me on here. Much respect to both of y'all.
Absolutely.
Y'all are legends on the talk, but y'all are growing to be legends outside of that, man, in the prison realm, man. As people grow to hear both of y'all's story, and between the both of y'all, y'all got over 1 million people tuning in to hear everything that's going on, man, on this prison
Yeah,
world, man.
yeah,
You guys really capitalized on that, man. You guys took over kind of like Death. You did an interview with him. You guys took over
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
yeah.
TikTok like Death took over YouTube for a while, So much
Mhm.
respect to that, man. Much respect and getting the message out there, man. I see a lot of what you guys do. I see a lot of the positivity you guys spread. I know a lot of people choose to nitpick, a lot of the stuff that, they'll nitpick some of the negative. And it's like, oh, you're just glorifying prison. You're just doing this, that, and the other. But I see the message because I lived it too. So I
Yep.
know a lot of the messages that you guys put out there. I know a lot of the messages that, and you guys can reach a certain audience that maybe somebody else can't. So,
Yeah.
and so we all have a different story. We all did time different places. We all have a different story to share. Yours may hit home to
That's
somebody else that I wouldn't be able to reach. P90, he might be able to reach the younger generation, because they wouldn't listen to me. Like even if I was in a chain gang, man, shut up, man, you're old, bro. What do you know
yeah.
about fucking? So, so much respect to what you guys do, man, and all the respect in the world of that. So for those of you who don't know, I'm just introduce myself just real quick,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely, man.
I'm Big Mitch. They gave me that name in the fucking chain gang. I had like 100 others, but that was the one I chose at the end that just stuck with me because everything's kind of last name in prison over there, at least here in Florida. Because you're inmate so and so, and they just call you by your last name. So we just kind of go by that. So my
Yeah.
last name's Mitchell. Law of least effort. People are lazy, so they call me Mitch for the most part. And then I used to like to work out a lot, so they're like, "Oh, you're Big Mitch," And so there's that. But just getting into it, man. Fucking, I see what you guys doing. I see you guys trying to put my message out there too. I haven't really. I hesitated for a long time to be honest with you because there's this negative connotation with and I know you guys get a lot of the messages too, like oh you guys are just glorified in prison. You guys must be so proud. All you did, your biggest accomplishment was that you go to prison. And it's like a little bit more than that. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
steered away from it too because society just has this negative view. I mean, we deal with it. If you don't believe it, then just go to a job interview, and then they sit up and bring that background. It's like all of a sudden
Fact.
you're just faced with that reality all over again.
Yeah.
100%. So here in Florida, I mean, things are. It's funny. So I tell everybody to do this and get a feel for what Florida is like. So when you guys get like a minute, but Google Florida man followed by your birthday. It'll be titled with some crazy story about I made a video about it, but it'll be titled some crazy ass story about some dude in Florida that went off the deep end and just and that's what he's in prison for. But if you guys ever get a chance, just for a laugh, Google your birthday or Florida man followed by your birthday, and then see what happens. Not the year, just put in the date of your birthday, the month and the day, and then
Yeah.
you'll find some funny ass
yeah.
stories, bro. You'll find some funny ass stories of what goes on in here, man.
You
Um, you'll
guys
find
are
some
a
funny.
different breed down there, man.
Yeah, different
Let me
breed.
tell you, even the prison genre, right? Because Death put on a few people from Florida, and man, there was a huge for a while they were just like we just didn't get along, and everybody was just like there were people traveling like 3 hours. One of my boys went like 3 hours. He just couldn't handle the dude that was just talking and running his mouth, and he ran down on him. Like dude lives like 3 hours away, and he ran down on this dude because he was just
Mm.
talking shit on some YouTube, and it just Florida's Florida's definitely unique, because we got such a melting pot. Everybody kind of comes down here to vacation. People come down here for all kinds of different reasons, just to hang out, And so you got such a mixture of people and cultures around. So it's just like this big ass melting pot. And obviously, so you add that to the fact of prison, the prison genre to it, and then you got a whole different breed of animals that come out of here. You know, not all respectable, but some of them make it. Some of them make it. Some of them
Yeah.
make it. But
I've met a few people that did time in Florida. I've met a few people. I met my buddy. He actually said that him and his friends used to go down to they moved from Texas to Florida, and he said he's like, man, I used to think it was bad in Texas because I used to get locked up for like a long time for simple charges. But they thought that running away to Florida is going to help them, so they ended up going down to Florida, and he ended up doing like I think 10 years, and like all of his friends are doing life tops, all because they like just got in like bar fights and like all these crazy like just charges that you would think would be like a couple years here and there, and they're doing 15 to 20 years. So Florida be definitely cracking down on people.
They don't play because of that reason, because so many people, you know, it's a popular saying here in Florida, you come on vacation, you leave on probation. I mean, if you're lucky enough to leave, you know, that's the thing, is if you're lucky enough to leave, you know, you get caught up in the wrong spot or you just get in a bad situation. Because
do you guys got medical marijuana there?
Yeah, we do now. I think we passed it within the last year or so. So now we do have it now. I think, honestly, we're moving towards a little more towards recreational too, but we do have medical down here. We do have medical down here too now. So that's kind of a newer addition. It's a new thing that's kind of booming down here too. I know a buddy of mine took over a business. Buddy of mine, funny enough, that I was in with, he's on here too. He's on TikTok too, but he had opened up a medical marijuana business because he saw where it was going in Florida, that they were going to start opening it up and everything of that. So, but yeah, man, like I said, much respect to what you guys do. I know you guys have reached a tremendous amount of people. I mean, your following speaks for itself. And like I said, we all have a little bit of something. Mine was always working out. That was always, I know a lot of you guys work out in chain gang because there's not a lot else to do, number one. And I know especially when I was younger, I know a lot of the younger crowd would be like, all right, bro, we're going to do like 1,000 push-ups every night, and so like in juvenile P90, I'm sure, somebody, hey man, you guys do some push-ups with us tonight, and it's just not really a choice. You just do it, and just because there ain't nothing else to do and y'all are just hanging out, and so that was my biggest thing. Is I was working out before and I worked out after. So that was just kind of my way. That was kind of my message of going.
Oh, you're hitting those 2-a-days, huh?
Yeah, I was sometimes 3. Sometimes I wake up before breakfast and and then hit double yard sometimes. So I was killing it.
You must have been eating a lot.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, a lot of people tell me that. They're like, man, you eating good over there. I see you, boy. I see you. You know how it is. They come at you like, what's up, big dog? Just trying to get like you, bro. That's it. That's a common response.
Just trying to get like you. Hella Jack man. Hella Jack man.
Just trying to get like you, bro.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I was actually on. So if you guys don't know too, I'm a double amputee. So a lot of people looked at me like in prison, and I told the first story I ever told on TikTok that kind of blew up was how, because of my charges, right? Because I was a decent size already. When I went in, I was 17, and so I was already working out, so I was in pretty good shape. And so I had I'll introduce my charges a little bit, but I ended up getting charged with 15 felonies. 5 of them were conspiracy to first-degree murder, 5 solicitation, and then 5 tampering with a witness to hinder truthful testimony. So, like, I'm coming in at 17, and then, mind you, this was in a town that I had no idea about. So Orlando, where, funny enough, where Disney World is at and everything like that. So that's about 3 hours away from where I'm at. And so I come into a place that I don't know with charges like this, and then the media just, how sometimes the media just kind of amps your shit up, kind of makes you look like a bad guy. If you ever want to, a lot of times you just watch the news, and you guys can call it the bad news. I'm sure you guys have had your experiences, and how they made you, how they kind of portrayed your character, when in reality, you know better. You know yourself better than that, and you know what you're capable of.
So, hey, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but here they have the standard examiner, and we call it the standard exaggerator, because they be lying, bro, like so bad, bro. I'm telling you, like, I ran from the cops one time, and they had it down as like I was running from a previous robbery, and like that's an absolute lie. I was literally just walking down the street, and the cops got behind me, and I ran, and all of a sudden I'm coming from a robbery that involved some other shit. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? That wasn't even me. Like, they made me look bad. So I feel you on that, brother. I feel you. 100%. So go ahead with your story, man.
So as they keep like amping up the charges, because what ended up happening was the media portrayed me like I was some kind of hitman set out to take out these witnesses, because it was already a murder case. So everybody's looking at me like, bro, like, this dude's 17. He's coming from out of town. Nobody knows this dude. He's not even from any hoods around here. This guy's got no legs, and he's kind of built. So, like, who the hell is this guy, So what they ended up doing was they put me in and I only know this because an officer himself told me this after. He's like, honestly, like I had to. He's like, they told me to put you in solitary because he's like, honestly, how the media portrayed your shit, like fucking your case was a high profile one, and honestly, they thought you were like some kind of trained killer because nobody knows anything about you except these big ass charges and that you're kind of in decent shape. So we figure you're like some kind of third world like assassin, like hired or something, like just like raised or something.
Damn.
So he's like, we had to lock
administrative
everybody.
segregation.
Exactly. So it's like. I felt like you guys remember Batman Begins, the first one with Christian Bale, where he's like taking off on all the inmates and stuff like that, and they grab him like he's like, where the fuck are you taking? Oh, excuse me. He's like, where are you taking me? He's like, oh, we're taking you for protection. He's like, I don't need protection. He's like, no, protection for them. And he points at so it kind of felt like that, and it felt like I was on like death row because they would literally put everybody in their cells for a little bit, and then I had to go out. That was when I got to go shower and all this other stuff. But it's funny how you said that. They exaggerated the thing, and this story got just blown out of proportion when that was like far from reality. And so I go on, and it's obviously I go in throughout my sentence. And fun fact is, the same guy who prosecuted Casey Anthony is the same guy who prosecuted me. Obviously, he lost that case, which the whole world was, like, what the hell are you talking about? How'd you lose the most hated woman in America case, Now he wants revenge for his first case he lost on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, no, he didn't lose it on me, but this was later. Casey Anthony got tried later after me.
Oh, so, all right.
Yeah, but my co-defendant, funny enough, because the Casey Anthony case came along, he honestly, I believe, he got spared the death penalty because his charge was originally first-degree murder. I think he got spared the death penalty because this prosecutor was so worried about the Casey Anthony case. I think he was just like, yeah, this is my big break. This is me on the case. And then he ended up losing it. So call it karma, call it whatever. It is what it is. And funny enough, I was the only one that went to trial off of that case. And it's funny because I know you guys get this a lot because I see it in your guys' lives. And when I tune into you guys, like, oh, you guys were a snitch. You guys were in PC, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, really? I'm like, so tell me how I'm the only one that went to trial. I'm the only one that didn't admit that I was guilty. I'm the only one that didn't give my account of the story, except to, when I told you that I wasn't guilty. So I'm like, hey, it's funny how people get to you, but I love how you
haters
guys
make you famous.
Really... Exactly.
When you blow up and get big, bro, who do they remember, you or your haters?
Exactly. So
you got to think the haters give you a boost. The more they comment, 100%. The higher up you go.
Facts.
They say there's no such thing as bad publicity,
I'll take them all. Send them my way.
Exactly. But you taking the time out to comment on my page that, oh, you didn't do this, but really you just took time out of it. So really, who's winning here? You,
because all it's doing is boosting your page, bro.
100%. So, but you guys were like the pioneers that, obviously just getting on talking about prison stories. The first two that like come up are you two, and so that was why I followed you guys. I kind of keep up with you guys, when we can. I know you guys, we go back and forth. Y'all have sent me messages. I've sent y'all, stuff. I stitched duet your stuff because y'all are, like I said, like kind of like the pioneers. Some of the other stuff I see, but not as much as I see your feed. So that's why I definitely wanted to jump on because I see you guys are doing this podcast too, and just kind of getting that message out there. And definitely wanted to hop on with y'all because all the respect in the world for that. Because I'm all about prison reform. Because I know firsthand what it's like, for a lot of us getting out to and just kind of, and it's what it's like in there. And then a lot of times, what people fail to realize, and I tell a lot of people, is that your sentence sometimes hasn't really begun until you get out. Because you gotta kind of pay your dues. You gotta all of a sudden, especially if you're coming from kind of an institutionalized mindset. So me going in at 17 and leaving at 26. I'm not afraid to sit there and tell you, like, I was institutionalized bad, it was just what I knew, was what I embraced, because it's just survival, like you guys did everything in your stories because it's just survival. We're just doing the best that we can under the circumstances that we're given. You don't know when something's going to happen. I remember sitting there, when you're on a certain compound and it just becomes normal and you're like watching the shadows and the sun to see if somebody could possibly like creep up behind you, like things like that. People forget and don't take into consideration that this is your everyday life. This is, what you've gotten used to. And it's funny because you don't really think twice about it anymore after a while. After a while, you just kind of go in and this is just natural to you. You know, you're not really thinking anything of it. But I think, what are y'all favorite movie that depicts prison for you guys? Like, you know, what is
American Me.
American Me? Okay, not bad.
Yeah.
What about you, P90?
I don't watch movies.
No? Okay.
Nah, I just watch YouTube. That's about it.
Really? Okay.
And TikTok
all day. Yeah, all day.
No pressure.
No, but you gotta understand, American Me is an older movie, so like it'd be, you know, he's a younger generation. But I say American Me because like that shit happens, bro. Like what actually happened in that movie? Like people get raped in prison, like that shit happens. But is it common nowadays? No. But does it happen? Yes, it still does. And like when I say that is because I want a kid to watch that movie and be like, that's prison. You know what I mean? Like I do not want to go to that place. Like, I'm not trying to get raped. I'm not trying like, and that's so I don't want, like, I don't like telling kids like, oh, well, like a lot of these movies are, I know I want them to be scared. You know what I mean? I don't want them to go, but I definitely feel like American Me is more, is actually like scary, but realer than a lot of movies.
I can understand that. I can respect that, you know, and so it kind of comes down to, see, funny enough is that, you know, I kind of think of it, you know, I like The Longest Yard, not because of the fact that, you know, obviously.
God, I was going to say that.
Oh, my God, I should have said that one. I've seen that.
See, yeah.
Oh, that's one of my all-time favorites.
But it's classic because I think it portrays that, okay, obviously prison fucking sucks. And, you know, where none of us sit there like, you know, like your children, you would never want your children to go to prison or fucking, you want your children, you know. You want your children to grow up to be better than you know, to do better. So 100%, you want them to know, no, this is what it's really like. You need to be scared. So the thing about The Longest Yard I like is the fact that although all these situations go down, a lot of times here in Florida, at least, you know, you got some places that, you know, and every place varies, and sometimes it changes with the time. You might get a new warden, you might get new officers, you know, you might get new inmates that are on the compound that are, you know, that are heavy hitters. You know, things change, you know. So I don't ever sit there and question too much if somebody's, you know, because I don't know at the end of the day, and I got better things to do with my time than to sit there and question whether your story is legitimate or not, you know, because that may be real to you, and that's the, you know, I'm not going to sit there and take that from you. If that's what's true with you. If not, what's in the darkness comes to the light, because somebody's always going to be around to have sit there and say, oh no, that wasn't really like that. You know, he wasn't really living like that on the compound. So eventually somewhere, you know, somebody's going to find you that knew about you, you know, and I've seen that on Death's channel a lot, you know, that happens. People get exposed.
Facts.
Shout out to Death too if he's watching this. I don't know if he follows you or not, but shout out to Death for what he's done.
I think he subscribed to my channel. I can't say I ain't gonna give you 100%, you know, but he told me he would, so I take people for face value. So I know Big JD. If you haven't seen him yet, shout out Big JD from Prison Break Raw, bro. That's a good dude right there, and he interviewed me, and I think you would fit really well on his channel. And I know he subscribes to me, so I just want to say, JD, if you're seeing this, Big Mitch, man, I'm telling you, and P90, get them both on your channel, man.
100%, the takeover, man. But I say The Longest Yard, just kind of getting back into, but I say The Longest Yard because even though it's fucked up, things happen, you know, you're all going through it kind of together. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of times, I had some of the best laughs in prison. I had some of the best laughs, and you know, it might sound crazy to an outside perspective, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Is that we had some good times. We genuinely made the best of a bad situation, you know, because we knew we know it's messed up. We know everything sucks. We know it, but we made a lot of the best out of it, you know. And sometimes, you know, it was rare. But sometimes we could all kind of come together for certain things, you know, and that was just, so I felt that in like, you know, on that camaraderie level, you know, and some, you know, obviously you're going to deal with different circumstances. It's not always going to be like that, but to some degree that, you know what, we're doing what we can to make it through. You know, we're sitting here laughing, we're all in it, but you know what, we might as well make the best of it, have some laughs, have a good time, you know, until all this is over and we go about our separate ways. But, and plus, Florida, for whatever reason, some of the remote parts of Florida, and I know everywhere they put prison's like in the middle of nowhere, so you're separated, you're isolated. You want to feel like you're isolated.
That's like where I was at. It's in the middle of nowhere, bro. Like it's in like the dude is related, like one cop's related to the other, which is his cousin of this officer, and then this officer's dog's related to this officer's sister-in-law's cat, and like, bro, it's bad, bro. So it's just like that. I feel that.
Exactly, and so I don't know what it is these boys and girls eat, but like I'm a pretty decently strong dude, but man, some of these dudes, I don't know where they find these guys, but these dudes are humongous, bro. And I'm just like, yo, like I remember one of them looked just like Brock Lesnar, and then he looked at me. I told him that one day. I'm like, anybody ever told you look like Brock Lesnar, bro? He's like, yeah, but he's a little fella, right? And I'm like, yeah, he's probably about 300. He's like, yeah, I'm about 350. So I'm like, yeah, there's that. So these dudes are like monstrous, and I'm just like, I don't know where but that was another stereotype that kind of the longest yard portrayed, and it gets pretty ugly. There's a place called Lake Butler, Florida, and it was notorious because at one point in time they had a jar full of gold teeth that they had knocked out of inmates and put it in a jar. Every time they did it, they put it in a jar on display for everybody to see. You can look it up on YouTube. I know a few people did a story about that. I think a few people have done a story about that, but it's like, crucial. Bro, it was nuts, bro. And they just don't care. It's like openly like segregated, and it gets a little rough. It gets a little rough passing through, and it's definitely like, golly. So that was a lot of, sometimes that was the biggest battle, was just going, being under that kind of regime and being under that, authority, because a lot of them, there's not really a whole lot to do in these smaller towns. So a lot of them just work in the prison, and that's just kind of life. So a lot of them make, scenarios and situations a little bit worse than they should have been because of the, and not to say that, obviously some of us don't, add fuel to the fire by doing some of the things we do. And I know I wasn't always an angel in prison. I know kind of walked that line of, so I'm not going to sit there and say that it's 100% their fault, because it takes two to tango at the end of the day. And I'm all about owning my part for it. Because at the end of the day, it's just you, and what you're able to make out of it. And so much like you guys were able to turn your stories of pain into, 500,000 followers, and now you guys got a following, and now you guys can build off of that, and whatever you guys can shape and mold it, whatever way you want to go, whether it be merchandise and telling these stories, to a greater purpose, whether one day it leads to something greater for you guys, you guys are building and shaping that. And I think that's such a great message, because it just shows that no matter what adversity and what background you come from, it's still possible to achieve everything that you ever dreamed of, even coming from the bottom and coming from points where I'm sure both of you have experienced. It's like, I don't even know if I can ever recover from this. I don't know if I'm ever gonna, I don't know what's gonna happen from this. Many times sitting in that cell, it's like, damn, is this really over? Is this, is this the end? Because I know I sat there and felt that pain. I can only
Hell yeah, I felt that way, bro. I caught a stabbing. I did 6.5 months in the hole, bro. In the hole, like, we didn't have books. They would take your mattress from you. Like, it was garbage, bro. And they'd put you in the shower at 3 to 4 in the morning. And if you didn't want to take, they would spit bag you, put a spit bag over your face with a leash. And like you were saying, so them guards are big, bro. Like, when SWAT would come in, they'd be like, we're calling A-team. And when SWAT comes in, it's 20 of the biggest officers they have. And like, it was like that. It was the country. Right where it was, it's max. And then you got fucking right next to it, there's a weight room, bro, where they all go work out at, like, constantly. And they're all on cycles and this and that. And their necks, literally, nothing. It's just shoulders and head.
Head and shoulders. Just head and shoulders.
Head and shoulders, baby.
Head and shoulders, baby. Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I know 100%. Even in Florida, in some places, they'll come by because, like I said, it's remote. So you got like cows, and some of them will come. Your window only opens like a little bit, right? So they'll come and smear like cow shit right on your window, so that's all you're breathing in, And like during the summer, and it's hot as fuck down. It's hot as hell down here in Florida, bro. And they'll turn on the heaters. They'll turn on the heaters during the summertime.
I know they do that, bro. It's mental warfare, dog. It's mental warfare.
Yep, guerrilla warfare, man. And but I'll be honest with you, and the thing is that there's so much I learned from that. Obviously, the first and foremost is like, God, I don't ever want to deal with this again. Sometimes, I'm just like, sometimes I'll just, I'll be having a bad day at work, or I'll be having, some trouble with, whatever, you know what I mean? Family issues, et cetera. And then I just stop and I think, I'm just like, man, thank God I'm not there anymore, boy, to deal with that on top of everything. Because a lot of times, you're already dealing with family issues on the inside as it is. So it's even harder because you can't sit there, it's like you got, it's like on P90 when he did that one, he's like, man, it's the most painful thing when they say you got 1 minute left, bro. And it's like, because there's so much more sometimes you want to say or that you need to say. And it's like you're cut off.
Or you just don't know what to say until they give you the 1 minute.
Exactly. Exactly, bro. And it's like, bro, I was like, and then it's like, you're trying to call back and it's like, I'm flying on the phone and it's like, oh man. So, and you're just sitting there. Sometimes you're just sitting there, especially like in lockdown and everything, you're just sitting there and you ever just been waiting on that mail call and you ever just wait on mail and just go to your cell? I used to go to my cell sometimes in confinement. And when they were doing mail call, I'd hear him go, I'd go to the door. And then after that, after he was done and I didn't get nothing, I was just like looking sick. Yeah,
bro, it's I hated that, bro. Or like, you know how sometimes if you're like known, they'll hold your letters.
Yep.
So like all of a sudden, like you'll get no mail for like 4 weeks, and then you just get one pile of mail.
Yeah, you get a stack. You get a stack of it. Yeah. I don't know why and where do they keep these things? It's like, what are you doing back there? In the mail room. What are you hold my stuff hostage, man? Come on, man. But
yeah, bro, they don't care. They don't care, bro.
Exactly. But obviously, so just moving forward. But I think that shows that even more so, like to the story, to the fact that you go through all this stuff and it becomes the normal to you, and it's like. So you get out into society, and it took me a minute. It took me a good little minute, but longer than it should have to kind of just get readjusted to everything, because number one, people aren't really accountable for what they say out here, and and that's out here in the free world, and it's like you think about it, and it's like it's like naturally your inclination, if somebody like shows you an amount of disrespect, it's like you have to handle that naturally. It's like that's your mindset, and it's like. You can't do that out here. It's like you can't, and then when user 56712 sits there, it's like says something.
Runs his face.
Like, what are you talking about, bro?
Him and his fucking gerbil picture.
Yeah. What is going on? Is this still amazing?
I don't fucking know, bro. I don't know, bro.
No idea what was going on. I know.
Dude, these speakers keep making like weird noises and shit because I'm sitting so close to them. So I keep trying to move my camera. So excuse me, guys.
Oh, okay. I don't know if maybe mine's too loud or whatever. It's the Bluetooth in my truck. I don't know. Because
no, it's fine. I think my phone was just too close to my speaker.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got it outside in the speaker. Okay, you got an outside speaker that's going.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah. So, but it's funny how much you can learn and you can kind of apply that to because I you sit here and I know you guys have seen you guys have made some of the like how to make tattooing, how to make the print, it's amazing like what some of these people can do. These P90 that I shared the story about how to make dice with the soap, and and it's amazing what some of these guys can really do. And it's like if you put your mind to that on the outside, bro, I used to tell people, I'm like, bro, why are you in here, bro? Like you could sit here, you got probably a patent for like $1 million idea, bro. Like what? I knew people that could. I don't know how the hell they did it. I don't know how, but they could sit there and flush something in their toilet and it would come up in their homeboy's toilet. Like how do you I don't even begin to understand.
No, I know exactly how to do that. So look, you got to have two, but it has to be two cells that are like facing, like, you know what I mean? Because they all have the same trap. You know what I mean? Like if there's two cells, but if we flush a sheet at the same time, it will suck it up and tie it and it will get stuck. And then we could just pull it in together,
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, I made the mistake of flushing my sheets one time in confinement, and I got for about a month. I got what's called they call it a what the tray, because you go to open your tray and that's exactly what you say. You go, what the like, where's the rest of it? It's like you're sitting in there starving, bro. I lost like 40 pounds. I was so big at one point in time that I could barely because you got to put your hands you got to get handcuffed here in Florida, to put your hands through the flap when you go to confinement. It's probably the same thing there. But And so at one point, like, it was difficult for me. By the time I was done with that stint in confinement, bro, I was fitting through there like nothing, bro. I was like starving.
Fitting through the entire cupboard, huh?
Yep.
Starving.
Like, golly, it's like now I'm just, that's like now I'm anemic, you know. It's like, golly, bro.
You have to hit up Whataburger.
Oh yeah, every time, bro. I drink a huge cup of water before you get any kind of food, bro. And just, you know, like drown yourself and just like, golly. But and that was the only time I'd work out was in confinement, because right before meals, because I knew I was gonna get fed, because otherwise I was just gonna sit there starving. That's all you got to sit there and think about. Is like, I remember you'd hear the trays being pushed on the big cart, right? And that was like the highlight of everybody's day. Everybody cheered in confinement when they heard that tray cart being pushed onto the floor.
Doors being shook.
Yeah, and so I got out, and like I said, I kind of stayed away from it because I was kind of like trying to go the opposite direction. I was trying to, you know, see that, you know, trying to get away from the prison, because I felt like it defined me for long enough, because I did a 10-year bid. I did like closer to about 9 years off of 10. And it had taken enough years from 17 to 26 from me. And so at first I was like, you know what, I'm just going to tear the rear view mirrors off of this thing. And I just want to move forward with, you know, I want to put a lot of this behind me. And as I kind of got along more into it, you know, and I see that the world's kind of changing a little bit, not nearly enough to what we need, but it is changing. And it is changing because people are becoming that, are using their stories for success, much like you guys are. You know, you look at like Big Boy from Strength Cartel. You look at people like Cali Muscle. You know, I use his phrase a lot. I kind of paraphrase it because I spelled it a little different, but his book is called From Ex-Con to Icon. And that was where I got that from, because I was like, damn, I love that. I love how that sounds, you know?
Yeah, it does sound. I've never even heard that, to be honest with you.
Bro, yeah, that was why I put it as in my profile, because I'm like, damn, bro, that shit, that was a mean one right there. From Ex-Con to Icon. So I just spelled it a little differently. I kind of stole that. So, but I love that story, and the fact of, you know, I see all these guys and girls out here capitalizing on it, and not only capitalizing on it, but using it for greater reform, and so that, you know, we can live a little bit more of a normal life. Because I think that at the end of the day, you know, we're still human beings. We made a lot of mistakes. You know, we might have traveled some paths that, you know, most people don't wish they would ever have crossed paths with. But the fact of the matter is that doesn't entitle us to anything lesser. And I think that that's starting to open up. And so everybody was telling me, like, bro, like all these stories like that you got, that you tell, like, you should really start sharing them. And so that was why I kind of got on TikTok, and that was how, you know, I found you guys and everything. But, you know, and that was why I started to kind of just put that message out there, because a little bit on what I've done since I've been out is, you know, I sent you a picture. I don't know if you guys seen it, but the guy from Call of Duty, they call him.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. So I know him, and I know his trainer, you know, and I train with him down here in Miami. And God, he's probably even more of a badass in person than he is on the game, to be honest. And so I filled out for the Rock show called the Titan Games 2, and they had emailed me back, but I didn't make it on this last season, so I was trying to make it on there. I was on a show called Right This Minute, because I used to watch that show during lunchtime in the tank. I was like, damn, bro, it's like a show that highlights like internet videos and things like that. It's called Right This Minute, and I was like, man, one day I'm gonna be on that show. And I set out and I did it. You know, so I kept smashing all these goals for myself, you know, and I want to keep doing that, but to show the world and everybody that, you know, this isn't over, this isn't the end, just because, you know, we made some mistakes, just because, you know, that all that's in the past. You know, we made those mistakes, but we're not going to let them make us, you know. And so every time we're learning as we go along. We're learning, we're capitalizing, and we're becoming better versions of ourselves than we were, because, you know, I can see, you know, and it takes a little bit more of a seasoned individual, but I can look at P90 and I can tell you, as he's telling me a story from the past, I can tell how he's referring to it, how he's speaking, that he's not really that person anymore, you know?
Yeah,
same with you. Like, you ain't that same person, you know? You guys, we're growing, we're evolving, we're adapting as the world comes at us. and we're doing the best that we can with the circumstances in the hand that we were dealt. And so I feel like there's kind of a shift in the dynamics, and I think that we keep pushing for this prison reform, like I know you guys do, 100%. And I think eventually, the world is going to crack, and I think they're going to see that we're people too, just like anybody else that made some mistakes. Made some bad decisions.
This is what I have to say about mistakes. Let me just try to say one thing.
Go for it.
The dude upstairs is vacuuming, and I'm pretty sure he's like a super tweaker, bro. So he's been vacuuming the same room for like 25 minutes, bro. So I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to hear right now, guys. But you can make as many mistakes as you want, and that'll make you a bad person. What makes you a bad person is when you make a mistake and then you don't learn from it and you keep making the same mistake. Does that make 100%. Sense? Well, it don't matter how many mistakes we made in our past. It's the fact that we learned from it and we're turning that into something that's constructive, that's good. We're building something out of it. We're not just sitting here and being like, oh, we're a felon. We can't get a job. I guess I'm just going to work in warehouses my whole life or construction. We're not making excuses. What we're doing is we're showing people like, yeah, we might be a felon, but guess what? We still people, and we still know how to take care of our families and build something, like build a future. Like, just because you're a felon, it's not over. And a lot of people think it's over because of that, and it's not, bro. Like, your journey has only begun, bro. Like, straight up, man.
Exactly. We didn't do all that time just to get out here and live like a mediocre life, bro. When they set you free, bro, they set you completely free. Yeah. Everything you ever wanted is outside here, bro. You just got to go get it. You got to go get it.
And like, I did 8 years. So like, I have to, like, I have time to make up for it, bro. I got 8 years I have to make up for. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not going to just lose time, player. Like, I'm going to get that time back. And that's why I have to do so much in one day, because it's like, I missed out on so much shit.
I wake up super early and I go to bed, later than usual, for the fact that I want to live each day. If I wake up to regret just one day, that's already too much, bro. That's already too much out here, bro. Because life is good out here, bro. Life really is good. Life is beautiful, and a lot of people don't see it for what it is. And sometimes you can't see the forest from the trees, but nevertheless, it's out here. Whatever you want, you can attain. It might not be easy, but it's attainable. It's doable. You can do literally anything you set your mind to. There is no limitations, just right here. It's your own limitation. And that's why I like to surround myself. Typically, when I was working out in the chain game, a lot of the guys I hung out with were bigger and probably better than me at working out. So anybody who was, I surrounded myself with, and this is a universal fact. If you surround you're the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most. Because you're a little bit in common with every one of them. So I always used to seek out people that knew more than me, a lot of older guys who had already traveled a road, that I would sit there and just kind of gain some wisdom, some knowledge from. When it came to working out, it was the same thing. Even out here, if I'm working my job, I want to see how this guy does it because, he's the best, So I want to surround myself with the best because at the end of the day, I want to live the best life that I possibly can. And not everybody, so you'll use discernment after a while. But my boy told me a saying one time, and and that's that every man ain't your friend, every man ain't your enemy, but every man is your teacher. Whatever you choose to learn from them, whether it be what to do or what not to do, you should be able to learn from the next man. Whether like I said, whether that's an example you want to follow or not, or do the opposite of, that's entirely up to you. But to whatever degree, every man should be your teacher because you can learn something from damn near anybody.
And if you kick it with a bunch of penguins, eventually you're going to end up being a penguin. If you kick it with, you know what I mean? You kick it with a bunch of, like, you swim in a pack of sharks, well, all of a sudden you're a shark, bro. You know what I mean? Like, so I definitely feel you on that. I feel you on that. You are who you surround yourself with. You know what I mean?
100%. So surround yourself with, the people that, are making it happen, and not making excuses, because it's real easy to get caught up in there, man. And especially as soon as you get out and you got all these things just kind of pulling you towards, it's like, number one, all the temptation, and number two, it's like, it's the fact that, that easy lifestyle kind of calls back to you as well, because it's like, it's not easy to do the right thing. It's not easy to go, okay, I got to settle for this lower paying job because, I just got out after, 8-9 years or however, like, you know, I just got out of jail. So, you know, I got to accept these circumstances. It's not easy when you know an easier way to get, you know, 10 times the amount, you know, but nevertheless, you're doing it.
It feels better.
It feels a lot better. Feels a lot better. Ain't nothing like it, bro. Ain't nothing like it.
I'll tell you that hard-earned fucking 2-week fucking binger of a $1,200 that you get every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Feels good, though. That is worth so much more, bro. So much more than that $3,000 that you make selling drugs. You know what I mean? Because you earned it.
100%. I tell a lot of guys too, because they're like, bro, you sure you want to Uber, bro? Like if we're out, like, you know, just like having a few drinks and stuff like that. Like, bro, that Uber is gonna be expensive. I said, you know how expensive a DUI is? I'm like, you know how expensive that bond's gonna be? You ain't, you know how expensive, God forbid, somebody gets harmed in the fact, you know. So making those conscious decisions and reminding yourself, you know, that this is it. This is who I want to be, you know, at the end of the day. You know, it ain't, like you said, it isn't over. It's far from over. So this Reformation movement, man, I'm definitely with y'all. I'm definitely 100% behind you guys. And so, in any way.
And when it comes to prison reform, bro, all in this together. Like, it ain't just my job. It ain't P90's job. Like, if you can find out something that betters, like something, like if you find a movement or like something we can support, or like some kind of organization that we could send donations to, or you know what I mean? Like it's all of our part. And that goes for any creator on TikTok, like that has to do with prison. Like it's all our job, man. And so just to let you know, like if you find something that is a worthy cause that can help prison reform, you can always hit me up on Instagram, bro. Like, Bernard, like I found this out, dog. Like, what do you think about this? Or like, if you want to do something positive in the community and you need help raising money, or you know what I mean? Like we can all get together and use our platforms, like, and actually make a change. That's what it's about.
100%. I'm definitely down with that. I'm definitely down with that. Like I said, we just kind of just avoiding the naysayers here and there, all the ones trying to bring down the negativity, and just moving forward, man. Just moving forward.
I guarantee all my haters are all P90's haters, are all your haters. They're just haters, bro.
Exactly. They're all the same. For whatever reason, I always learn that that's more of a, you know, it's kind of like that mirror effect. You know how you can look in a mirror in two different ways. You can see everything you like about yourself, or you can see everything you don't. You know, and so a lot of times they look at, you know, they'll look at somebody, and a lot of times it's more reflecting what they don't like about themselves, something that's an insecurity within themselves, something that they don't like, that's the trait that they have, and they don't even realize it, that they're looking in the mirror and realizing that, damn, that's me, you know. So it's like, oh shit, you know. So it becomes something you don't really get accustomed to until you're faced with it, until you have to face reality, And let's be honest, a lot of these guys on TikTok aren't just, you know, don't live in the real world. They can't, not with some of the stuff they say. You can't live in the real world. I don't know where you live, but you know, my God, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you ain't lying at all, bro. People don't know. I've had some people like, I'm like, dude, if I like literally saw you in real life, bro, like, I don't think you'd understand. Like, you know what I mean?
It gets me because it's like, oh, bro, you know, we need to, paperwork check isn't really a thing in Florida. I don't know, you know, maybe it's more along the lines of like, it's when they get you in a different way. If they find out you're lying, they just, you know, typically they'll get on the cell phone. You know, I was locked up so long ago that, you know, I didn't even see the first iPhone come out, you know, so I didn't know what a touch screen phone was. I had like a Motorola Razor. So when like touch
shout out Motorola Razors and sidekicks, baby.
So I mean, that'll take you way back. I'll tell you how long ago that was. But so 2006. I never saw a phone. 2006 was when I left too. 2006 was when I left.
See, I'm not that.
Damn, that was pretty good. Damn, that was good. But so when they brought out like the regular phones, and he's like, "Hey, Mitch, you ever want to use it?" You know, people will come up to me like, "Hey, Mitch, you ever want to use the phone, bro? You know, just let me know." I'm like, bro, number one, I don't even know how to use the phone. I'd probably get caught. I'd probably get it fucking knocked off because I don't know how to use it. I'd be trying to figure it out. And then I said, number two, you know, I've been gone since I was 17. This was like later on in my bid, the touchscreen phones came on. So I was about to go home, and I'm like, bro, I don't have anybody to call, bro. Like, I don't know who the hell it is. Like, I don't have anybody I want to talk to right now. I'm just focused on getting out of here. So, but how they do kind of a check is more along the lines like, you don't carry around like a file with you. I'm like, obviously, if you got an open case or you're appealing, you'll have a lot of your charges and stuff with you. But for the most part, people in Florida will get on a phone somewhere, in there and they'll look it up themselves, and then they'll bring the phone up to you and like, hey, this you, bro? And, and that's how you're checked right then and there.
No, that's my brother. That's
I bet it is. Yeah, I bet it is, bro. And so
you're like, look, he don't have a mustache. I got a mustache, bro. He don't have a mustache.
Yeah. All right, bro. And then, but it's funny because it's like you hear that, like that's like a foreign term to me. I've never heard that. I guess that's more, than other places. I've never heard a paperwork check. And, you see people and they're like, hey, bro, when you're telling a story, and it's like, hey, bro, I'm going to need a paperwork check on you. And it's like, bro, I'm not saying I'm the baddest dude, because there's always somebody, and there have been plenty that are badder than me. But it wouldn't be you that checked me about my paperwork. I know one fact. It wouldn't be you, bro, that's coming to check me about my paperwork, bro. Like, I don't know who you are. I don't think you know who you are. But maybe you're a little confused and twisted. But at the end of the day, right, it wouldn't be you. So I don't know why you're coming to me on this social media app, because in reality, it ain't gonna be you, bro. I know who it would be.
When you look at their page and they're doing the walk.
What's that?
When you look at their page and they're doing the walk. You look at their page and they're doing the walk on the golf course and shit.
Yeah, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what are you talking about, man? It's like, what are you talking about? But hey, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. It's all love at the end of the day. So.
Facts. But hey, we're kind of running out of time. But look, I got a lot of questions for you still. Like, I'd be interested in a part 2 for sure. Like, of course, I know it might be too personal, but like how'd you lose your legs? Like, bro, I'm intrigued in your story. Like, your story intrigues me, and I know that everybody else in here, like, you didn't even really explain like what happened on your case. Like, if you're comfortable with that, so like,
100%.
Absolutely. So I think we should kind of do this in a couple parts if you're willing to do that. But I just want people to be able to find you, bro, because I want you to be able to tell your story, not you tell your story on my channel. I want you to be able to tell your story on your platforms, you know? So, like, if you have any platforms that you want to shout out right now, would be your time, dog, for sure.
What's that about? I didn't catch that last part because of the speaker. Something about shout out, but I didn't hear the last part.
I was gonna say, if you have anything that you need to shout out, any of your platforms people can catch you on, you can definitely shout them out right now.
Yeah, 100% on TikTok. You guys can follow me on Big Mitch Motivation. I got a link in the bio for a few different other things, man. I'm gonna start like an online coaching thing, for strength training, things of that nature. You guys can find the link in the bio. Instagram would be the same thing, Big Mitch Motivation. On YouTube, it's Big Mitch Fit. So Big Mitch Fit and Big Mitch Motivation, between the two. You can find me almost on any platform. So 100%. I don't know how many people got it here or not, but
I don't even subscribe to your channel on YouTube, but I'm glad to know that you do have a YouTube, because I'm gonna go directly after this and I'll drop you a subscribe, because I know you have fire ass content, brother.
Yeah, I haven't posted in a while, but I need to. I need to get back on the YouTube game, and like I said, there's a few different things I definitely want to highlight, because some stories you just can't tell in 60 seconds, bro. Am I wrong? I know you guys got stories that are, much longer than 60 seconds between everything you guys have both been through. So 100%. I know you guys do that. So that's where YouTube is kind of but man, it's rough getting people, for how many followers you guys have, to sit there and tell everybody on your TikTok, hey, go follow bro. How hard is that? Like, it's like you get like a fraction, bro. Like,
first off, if you don't get shadow banned, they don't like you shouting out other profiles. So if your video does go out and people follow you, like, I have 500,000 over that. I have like almost 515,000 followers, bro. And I'm about to hit 5K on YouTube. You know what I mean? So, but YouTube's where all your main followers are, all your real devout followers are on Instagram and YouTube, brother.
100%, 100% on that, 100% on that. But them definitely locked in for we can go down in parts, man. I know if I get, I've only begun to like scratch the surface on some of the stories that, and how, you could literally, and that was another thing, is I wanted to get this out there before the media got hold of it again. And God forbid, I don't want to be watching some crime documentary late at night, like 20 years, and then all of a sudden my case pops up, and then here I am again, the monster. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start shaping it, and I'm going to tell it like it really is. as opposed to letting somebody else tell my story, capitalize on my story ever again. So 100%, I'm down to continue the chat, man. Like I said, all the respect in the world for you guys, man, and what you guys are doing. I'm always in touch. You guys can always contact me on Instagram for whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, this ain't the last that you guys have heard of me. So 100%, all the respect.
Honestly, if you want to do if you want to do part 2 tomorrow, we can do a part 2, brother. You know, I always appreciate somebody that knows how to. I like the fact that you know how to talk without, like, I'm vulgar as hell. That's just me as a person. But I like the fact that you can talk without, like, you're just intelligent. I can tell that you're intelligent, dog. So it intrigues me. Like you said, you are who you surround yourself with. You know what I mean? So I like surrounding myself with intelligent people. So I do appreciate your company. I hope you know that, man.
Absolutely. And I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, man, nothing but respect, nothing but love, y'all, man. And we're going to get this moving. We're going to keep this movement going, man. Salute.
Absolutely. I appreciate everybody tuning into this episode. Like, just as I do after every episode, P90, I'll hit you up, brother, man.
Always.
You guys have a wonderful night, man. Appreciate
it. Have a great night.
You too.